This is your fourth novel.
I feel very passionately about the trafficking of young women around the world, thanks to my work in international needs and that it really is going on in the world. It's not just a fiction.
$5 from every copy of The Boat Shed sold will go towards International Needs anti-trafficking projects.
The transformation that happened at Lydia, the young women that I saw there were being transformed by being given the opportunity to learn crafts, skills that were going to really help them in their lives.
This year, Lydia aims to train another 100 women.
We're speaking to groups around the South Island. When we come back, we will be taking our time to come back up the North Island.
Stay tuned because we'll be promoting your book tour. Did you use artificial intelligence at all?
No, I did not.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the INNZider podcast. My name is Connie. I work with International Needs New Zealand in the marketing and fundraising department. In October last year, we hosted a book launch event in Tauranga for The Boat Shed, the fourth novel of New Zealand author Robyn Cotton. The Boat Shed was inspired in part by Robyn's visit to Nepal, where she met young women who had graduated from the Lydia Vocational Training Programme, run by International Needs Nepal. Lydia supports women from vulnerable backgrounds, helping them gain skills and confidence for their future. And thanks to Robyn's generosity, $5 from every book sold is going towards anti-trafficking work that International Needs does around the world. We realized that what we shared that night was too important to stay in one room, so we decided to do this episode today to make it accessible for everyone. So, with me today is Robyn Cotton, who has had a long association with International Needs New Zealand, serving on the board for 12 years, including vice chair and chair. Before that, she worked in the dairy industry in innovation roles and as a self-employed management consultant. As I mentioned, she's also a New Zealand author, and The Boat Shed is her fourth novel. So, Robyn, thank you for being here and congratulations on your book.
Thanks, Connie. It's lovely to be here.
This is your fourth novel. Yes. How does it feel to have reached this point in your writing journey?
Well, it's pretty exciting, I have to say. If you had said to me 10 years ago that we would be sitting here today talking about my fourth novel, I would have laughed you probably out of the room. So it is really exciting. Up until now, I guess I've had a little bit of imposter syndrome in that I've never really been able to call myself an author. That was something other people did. But since publishing my fourth novel, I'm starting to see myself that I really am a writer.
Yes, you are. Before we dive into The Boat Shed, can you tell us a bit about your three first novels?
Sure. My first book was A Skylark Flies, and it was based on a personal experience, and it was about a young woman who was attacked by a man, a stranger, and it explored the impact of that incident on both their lives, and it looked at the impact of forgiveness and of not knowing you're forgiven, and the burden of guilt that you carry if you don't know that you've been forgiven. And so that was my first book. My second book was Mary and Me, and as you can probably see, I've got Parkinson's disease, and I wanted to write a book about Parkinson's disease and really take people on a journey from the despair at diagnosis to a place of hope and resilience. And so Mary and Me is about two women living with Parkinson's disease 200 years apart. And then my third book was my first crime novel per se, and I decided I wanted to challenge myself cognitively, and I wrote The Jibe, and The Jibe is set in the Hauraki Gulf. The main character, the main detective, works for the Maritime Police in Auckland, and it's set around the Hauraki Gulf and Auckland City, and that was my third novel, so this one follows that up.
Perfect. Well, I've read Mary and Me, and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. I really enjoyed it. Personal, and it's very inspiring.
Thank you.
What was the inspiration behind The Boat Shed?
It started by, I wanted to have a second novel in my new series, the Hauraki Mystery series, and I feel very passionately about the trafficking of young women around the world, thanks to my work in international needs and what I've seen through international needs. And I see that creative writing is a great forum for informing people and raising awareness of something that many people may be slightly ignorant about. And there's so much of this that happens in the world, and I just really wanted to raise its profile. So that was the inspiration behind the latest book, The Boat Shed.
That's really inspiring, and also that books can be more than entertaining. They can inspire change and talk about these challenges. When you visited Nepal, you met young women who had graduated from the Lydia Training Vocational Programme. How did that experience stay with you? What did it mean to you?
There were probably two key things that stayed with me. One was the vulnerability of young women, particularly in areas where they may not have the opportunity to be educated. And in those places, families, and in particular women, can be very, very vulnerable to being abused in various ways. The second thing that impacted me was the transformation that happened at Lydia, where the young women that I saw there were being transformed by just being given the opportunity to learn crafts and skills that were going to really help them in their lives, and they would take the lessons that they learned back to their villages and share those with others. So I guess that's the two main things. And there was a story about a young woman there that really impacted me, and one woman travelled for 2 to 3 days by foot to get to the Lydia program.
Wow.
And at the end of the Lydia program, each graduate was given a treadle singer sewing machine. And so this woman was thrilled to get her sewing machine, but she had to walk home with it on her back. So I was really impressed by that story as well.
That's impressive. This feels like a good place to pause, Robyn. I'll talk a little bit more about this program. The Lydia Vocational Training Programme, run by International Needs Nepal, supports, as you said, women from very vulnerable backgrounds, many who've experienced deep poverty, discrimination, and in some cases trafficking. Since 1997, more than 1,000 women have graduated from this program, and they learn practical skills, as you said, tailoring, handicrafts, and business training. But the training goes much deeper than that. Women also learn about their rights, their worth, and their voice, and it's, for many of them, it's the first time they've been told that they matter and they have a future that matters. And what's really exciting about this program is that it's now evolving to meet emerging needs. So we've learned that many women can't leave home for 4 or 5 months due to children, family responsibilities, or safety concerns. So from 2026, the program is expanding to include shorter courses, a wider range of skills, and more flexible training options, still keeping the holistic focus on confidence, leadership, and dignity.
That's great.
And there's also growing support for income generation, so helping women with tools and startup materials so that their skills can actually transform into sustainable livelihoods. So it's very exciting, and this year Lydia aims to train another 100 women. So if you're listening and this project resonates with you, you're more than welcome to contact us, learn more, and learn ways in which you can support this amazing program, which has been going almost for 30 years now. Quite impressive. So let's continue back into The Boat Shed. What genre would you say it fits into?
It's a crime fiction novel.
Crime fiction. Interesting. What was the process like for you in producing this book, from first idea to finished level?
I'm quite a logical thinking person, and so I follow, I guess, a logical way of writing my books, and I say that because I know other authors don't. Sometimes they don't actually know who the perpetrator will be until they're well through the book. For me, I write my idea up into a short story to start so that I know where I'm going with it, and then I do a chapter summary where I look at each chapter, what my objective is in that chapter, whose eyes I'm going to tell the story through, what clues I'm going to sprinkle through that chapter, and really what the key story in that chapter is. So I kind of look at each chapter almost like a short story in its own right. Then I look at the characters, who they are going to be, and I cut the characters out of a magazine. So I go through magazines and I look for somebody that to me looks like what my character would look like in real life, and I cut the picture of that person out and stick it on a page. And then when I'm writing the story, I look at that person and I can sort of sense that person and relate to them, and that's my character. The problem with that is I might meet those people on the street one day because they're real life people, and most of them are in New Zealand. From there I do my research. My background is not in crime, and I haven't been in the police or the legal side, so I do a lot of research. And then I start writing. And to write the initial draft, it usually takes me about 4 weeks, which is quite quick. But once I have the idea in my head, I just have to get the words out. But then the editing process takes about 4 or 5 months. And then from there, it's organising. I'm an indie writer, so I organise the printing, the production of it, and the promotion and so on myself.
That's very interesting to hear all about the process. It's a lot of work. So you just mentioned you describe yourself as an indie author. So what exactly does that mean?
An indie author is an independent. Indie is independent, and what it means is I am self-published. I take control of the publishing, which means the production of the book, the printing process, and then the promotion, the marketing and sales, distribution, all of that I do myself.
And what are some of the challenges you faced with being an independent writer?
Probably the biggest challenge for me is promotion. I'm not very good at promotion. I find that as an indie writer, it's really hard to get credible reviewers interested in the book, to actually get its profile raised through magazines, radio interviews, things like that. It's very, very hard for people to take it seriously. I think there's a lot of books out there that are being written, and it is really difficult when you're not through a big publishing house.
Yeah. Well, let's hope this helps to promote your book.
Yeah, thank you.
What was your goal in writing The Boatshed?
Well, firstly, I wanted a cognitive challenge, and I wanted to write a story that other people would love, and a story where I could raise the profile on human trafficking and really get people to understand that, and to support the work that's being done in the anti-trafficking projects.
It aligns really well with the work that happens with International Needs, and helping, I guess, people understand complex issues as trafficking throughout a fictional book. When people read The Boatshed, what do you hope it changes for them, even in small ways?
I think it's understanding the plight, that it really is going on in the world. It's not just a fiction. Having some empathy for it. I think the thing with creative writing that makes it a good vehicle to raise awareness is that when you write creatively, you bring your reader into the headspace of your characters, and so they are able to see and feel what that character is going through, and therefore it builds empathy for the situation, the topic. And so I would like to think my readers have more empathy for human trafficking and the victims of human trafficking in the world. And really, I would love to see them think about supporting the sorts of projects that you're involved in International Needs, and to really get on board with those.
That's a beautiful way of raising awareness through your books. As you said, promotion can be tough. What have you done at the moment to get the book out there?
I do a lot of speaking engagements. I speak to groups through clubs, retirement villages, U3A, lots of those types of groups. I have a website. I try to promote it on social media. At the end of the day, it's the reader that I really rely on. So I hope that my readers love my book enough to be able to go out and tell their friends and encourage others to buy it. And remembering that for each book I sell, I've pledged to give $5 to anti-trafficking projects. So I hope that people will, instead of sharing their books around, that they will actually buy a book and help those anti-trafficking projects as well.
And now that you've mentioned the anti-trafficking projects, I'll pause again. We're extremely grateful for your support, Robyn. And just to add, along with the Lydia project, International Needs supports anti-trafficking work around the world. For example, in Cambodia, the Chapdai project helps survivors of human trafficking and abuse rebuild their lives through legal aid, counseling, and education. And in Bangladesh, there are 3 drop-in centers where street children, many who are trapped in child labor, can find a safe space where they receive a nutritious meal, they learn, they play, and they stay out from the dangers of the streets and find a place where they can actually just be kids. So it's very impactful what you're doing through your book. For anyone listening who's keen to read this book, where can they find it? I know you mentioned the website, and how much is the book?
I sell direct. I don't sell through shops, so you won't find it in retail shops. If you come direct to me, my website is www.hatheropbooks.wordpress.com. I know it's a mouthful. I'm hoping you might.
We'll include the link at the end of this.
And if you go to the contacts page, that will send me an email, and I'll get back in touch with you and let you know where you can get it from. I send them direct. They are $34.95, and of that I've pledged the $5 to International Needs. And I think that's probably all you need to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, perfect. A very current question. Did you use AI, artificial intelligence, at all?
No, I did not. Not for any of the writing of the book. However, I did use it for creating a trailer to promote the book, and it was pretty amazing actually. Just put in a short synopsis of the story into AI and told it the style of trailer I wanted, and basically pressed enter, and within seconds I had this amazing little trailer.
Did it meet your standards?
Yeah. It was better than expected. It was good for that, but I did not use it for the writing of the story. More the cover design.
So for the cover design, do you have illustrators working with you?
Yes, I'm very fortunate to have a very talented niece, and she designed the covers for each of my books.
So how different is The Boat Shed from your earlier book, The Jibe?
If I start with the similarities, it has the same detectives. The central character is Frank Smythe of the Maritime Police and Anahira Ropara from the CIB, and they team up. It's set in the Hauraki Gulf and Auckland, around Auckland, so those things are the same. But The Jibe was much more of a whodunit. The Boat Shed is more about the crime and tracking down the offenders, the culprits, who's behind it, and it's more involved in organised crime.
Perfect. An important question for some readers, is there any romance?
No. If you're looking for romance, don't buy my books. If I was to write a romance story, I think it would probably be cringeworthy.
Will there be another book?
There's one in the making at the moment, so I'm halfway through writing the third one in the Hauraki Gulf mystery series.
That's awesome. Is it true that you'll be doing a book launch tour around New Zealand this year?
Yes, it is. We are going to go down and have a holiday, I suppose you call it, a tour around the South Island, and we're speaking to groups around the South Island. So we're going down there middle of April, and we'll be there till the middle of June. And then when we come back, we will be taking our time to come back up the North Island and doing the same thing. So if any of the viewers would be interested in hosting a group and having me come along and talk about my books, then I'd be very happy to do that, and you can get in touch with me through the website or through International Needs.
And stay tuned, because we'll be promoting definitely your book tour. Robyn, thank you so much for sharing your journey and the heart behind The Boat Shed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
This book reminds us that stories can do more than entertain. They can help us see the world differently, and in some cases even inspire change. I also want to say how much I admire your strength. You've transformed your experience with living with Parkinson's into something powerful and meaningful, and I think that resilience is very inspiring, not only for readers but for women all around the world who have their own challenges, like the woman in Nepal who choose hope and courage every day. Mm-hmm. Through The Boat Shed and through programs like Lydia in Nepal, Chapda in Cambodia, drop-in centers in Bangladesh, we're reminded that hope often begins with an opportunity. And just as a reminder, thanks to Robyn's generosity, $5 from every copy of The Boat Shed sold will go towards International Needs anti-trafficking project. So thank you. We'll leave a link below with Robyn's website where you can find all her 4 books.
There's actually 5 now.
Oh, yes. And to everyone listening, thank you for joining us. We'd also love to hear your thoughts on this episode, so feel free to leave a comment or reach out to us. If you haven't listened to our previous episodes, you can check them out and stay tuned for what's coming next. This was the INNZider podcast. Thank you
so much, Connie. Thanks for having me.